Welcome to the Western Pacific Fishery Management Council's Fish Forever podcast about sustainable fishing through effective stewardship in the U.S. Pacific Islands. In this episode, we learn how scientists use fish ear bones, or otoliths, to determine the age, size, and growth rates of fish. How old is the fish you catch or eat? How old was it when it started to reproduce? How do we gather this information and use it to help us successfully manage our fisheries? Otoliths can tell us about a fish's age, when it was old enough to reproduce, and just how long it could have lived. Bob Humphreys is a researcher with the NOAA Fishery Service, and he works with otoliths.
This is an otolith from a uku, about a half-meter size uku. And you can see that they're fairly small, but they're not that small because the otoliths from billfish are extremely small. And this makes it very difficult to age billfish with otoliths.
The function of the otoliths in fish are very similar to the function of the bones in the inner ear of mammals. They help with balance, orientation, and sound detection. You can tell how old a fish is by counting the bands in a cross-section of an otolith, just like how counting the rings in a tree trunk can tell us its age. Put together the age of the fish along with its size, and this gives you information and clues about how it lived, especially for certain bottom fish and pelagic species. Otolith samples can help us analyze our ocean fisheries as well as manage them. So where do we find these otoliths and how are they removed?
What we've done here is done what we call a pop-top section, where we've cut and exposed the lower part of the brain. The brain is actually right in here, and in the very corners, it's hard to see it, but in the very corners, back in here at the base of the brain on the bottom, is where the otoliths sit. And they sit in little tight enclosures. So when we actually take the otoliths out, we have to use tools like bone cutters to make sure that we clip it out of that bony enclosure so that we don't break the otoliths as we remove it.
So how can you help us get this kind of information? Bob Humphreys explains how the fishing community can lend a hand.
One of the things that we have a difficult time getting specimens of are the smaller sizes. The smaller sizes are important because growth is very rapid when they're young. If we can get these samples from fishermen and they can either give us the whole sample or remove the head, but before removing the head, get a fork length and a date and what island they caught them from, then we can use the head to remove the otolith and determine what the age was for that length of fish.
The work that Humphreys and his colleagues are doing is of great importance to all of us who enjoy fishing, who eat fish, or who worry about the effects of man's activities on ocean resources. By knowing more about how fish grow and reproduce, we can better manage our various fisheries so we can enjoy our local fish forever. Please join us again for another Fish Forever podcast, brought to you by the Western Pacific Fishery Management Council.